So yeah, it's not a thank you, it's a welcome. Sort of come in peace and welcome to Qigong this Sunday. And we'll start with a Taiji Qigong posture, starting posture, but we always come back to this posture as we're working through the class. So feet parallel with your hips, parallel with each other, soft ankles, soft knees. Allow your tailbone to drop, and as it drops, you'll feel that your lower spine, your lumbar spine is dropping down. As you move up your spine, you just bring your chin, tuck it in a little bit, and that raises the top of your head towards the sky and lengthens your cervical spine upwards. So you've got lumbar spine going down, cervical spine going up, and that creates what the Chinese Taoists would call song. Song, condition of song is to create space in the body. So instead of your spine just feeling like a whole lot of bricks stacked on one and the other, this space is in between each vertebra, and they've been held up by the guy ropes of the different muscles that are switching on, switching off as we stand. Alrighty, bring your shoulders up to your ears and drop them. Feel as if you've got just enough space at the axilla to pop a little squash ball in there or golf ball in there, and a little space between your legs so that you could sit on a really, really skinny horse. And in that position, just close your eyes for a couple of seconds and arrive. Realize that you're here, you're going to do your class. Whatever's coming afterwards and whatever has happened before, has been in your life before, you just let it be and be present with our body movements and our breathing as we go into Qigong. So in 1908, there was a Tai Chi master called Shuming, who said, in stillness be like a mountain, and in movement be like a river. So maybe just stand for a couple more seconds and feel maybe how it could be to be a mountain, to be as still as a mountain. You might even feel just that idea, sense the energy running through you, and you might feel a bit of tingling in your hands. You're actually opening the body in stillness so that the circulation and the nerve conductivity and everything else can move around your body as it's got space, got song, stillness. All right. And then still in this position, we're going to go into breathing. And I'll give you a second quote from very, very important doctor in Chinese medicine and also in Qigong, the 3rd century BCE, who said, the man of old, remember 3,000 years ago, he said, the man of old slept without dreaming and woke without anxiety. And his food was plain and his breath was deep. So let's look for that deep breath. Let's pop our hands initially. It's your tiger mouth there, thumb open to your first finger. And find your last floating ribs and pop that little tiger mouth on either side and push it in a little bit so that when you breathe in, you're going to be pushing your hands away from your body. So breathing in, getting your breath right down there, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth, and then follow that exhale. Breathing in through the nose, breathing out and follow the exhale. As you're breathing in, your diaphragm is expanding and widening as it pushes down onto your abdominal contents. And as you breathe out, it's going a little bit like a triangle back into the lungs, and it's getting narrower. Let's try breath of 5 in and a breath of 5 out. Nice coherence breathing. slowing down your breathing. A lot of people are breathing 12, 16 times a minute. If you want to be really calm but alert, then you want sort of 5 to 6 to 7 breaths a minute. And notice how as you're breathing and you're pushing the ribs out to the side, that there's also a movement of the belly coming forwards, belly button coming away from the spine as you breathe out, belly coming back towards the spine. As our diaphragm is attached to our ribs, in the bottom of the breastbone, and then all the way around to the vertebra at the back. So the whole trunk is going to expand as you breathe in and out. And as it does this, it's going to be massaging your internal organs. They're going to work better. Okay, good. So we've got a lot of nice, good oxygen in there. Let's just clear out any old stagnation in the body. It could be muscle tension. It could be emotional stuckness. Maybe it's stuff you don't want to take into your day with you, or maybe it's stuff you don't want to take to bed with you. Just leave it behind. And any chattering in your head that you don't actually need, it's not going to serve you during this class, just let go as well. And we use Tiger clears away because Tiger's strong, okay, and resilient. So have your Tiger claws as we cross palms there and breathe out. 2, breathing in, breathing in, bending your knees. It's a good exercise for your hips and your knees and your lower back as well. You don't have to know what you're letting go of, but just anything you don't need. Sometimes people have come so close to your own space that you've just got to clear the air around you as well. And then feel, in Chinese medicine, we talk about your Wei Qi. It's that space around you that is still you. And you don't want people to come in and disturb it. Do it again. Feel the hydroelectromagnetism of the field around you. Our body extends beyond our skin. And one more. And you shortly, it's tiger sit in the grass, anything that's kind of left up here that you don't need, just in your stuff, bring it down, bend your knees, go into a crouch and give it to the earth so it could be composted. Breathe in, and one more, stretch up through your whole body, and breathe out through your mouth, and give any of that stuff that you don't need to be composted and be able to be reused by the space that's made in your body and your mind and your emotions. Okay. Right, let's move the body. We're going to circulate the oxygen now around the body. And we're going to enliven the spine. We're going to, first of all, rotate the spine. So when you're rotating, you're going to be opening up your pelvis, your lumbar spine, and we want to keep the spine straight but turning, so you don't want to break that line. So when you're doing that, you can think about shoulder nest, which is this lung 1 and 2, staying in line with the quad, the hip. So as you turn, those two stay in line as opposed to moving out of alignment. That's a very nice way of getting a really good rotation through the whole spine. And you're lifting your spine at the same time. So you're getting song in the spine, spaces, and creating space in the spine. Allowing the arms to swing as the body swings, and front arm is knocking over your lower dantian, over your navel, just under your navel there, and the back hand is knocking over the kidneys and the endocrine glands on top of the kidneys. So as you knock on the kidneys, you are going to be getting the body to produce serotonin and also adrenaline, because that's what the endocrine glands do there above the kidneys, and that's giving you a lot of energy for the day. So if you're going to be going to sleep, don't do this exercise for too long, just a little bit. Okay, but lovely to do in the middle of the day if you get sleepy. Just carry on there. I've got sand in my eye, I think. Okay, and let's come up to shoulder nest. Other hand stays behind, knocking behind over your second lumbar vertebra and into lung 1 and 2. These are very good points for improving immunity. So if you know it's cold and dark and damp and you don't want to catch colds, this is where you knock. Also, this is going to be improving the flexibility of your rib cage so they can breathe fully. And now we come up to gallbladder 21, which is the point to stimulate for clarity of mind. And it's over your upper trapezius, which is a muscle that most commonly has trigger points in the whole body. Move around with our shoulders just under our ears, crunched up. Okay, and down to shoulder nest. And down into the same movement, but just with soft hands, water waves. So the stronger exercise is a much more yang exercise, and this is much more yin. So as we do this, close your eyes and just feel the air moving through your fingers or your fingers moving through the air. Maybe you could become aware of what your feet are doing, how your knees feel, hips, shoulders, elbows. You might sense that you've got one foot maybe a little bit in front of the other one, or you're collapsing a little bit through the one knee. Just notice what your body's doing and relax. So the spinal enlivening, we've done the rotation and we've done next the forwards and back of the spine, forwards and back movement. And we're going to do spinal cord breathing, which is an excellent exercise. Opening up, letting your tailbone form a sort of C with the body, and then tucking the tailbone under as you come forwards and bring your elbows down. Breathing in as you go up, opening the front of the chest. As you breathe out, you open the back of the chest and make space between the shoulder blades. So make sure when you do this exercise that you're actually rounding the back and you're not just flexing the hips, because then you don't round the back at all. So exercise, the movement is more in the upper part of your body here. So if we want to get stronger with the breath here, we breathe in and out through the mouth. But if we're still wanting to do a lot of cleansing, maybe you've had a really bad chest infection or something, then you would do this exercise with an out breath through the mouth. So as we combine breathing with spinal exercise, it's very good for getting a lovely flow of your cerebrospinal fluid, and that's a fluid that your brain floats in. It's a fluid around all your spinal nerves, and that's how the blood takes the food from the bloodstream into the cerebrospinal fluid and then into your brain. It's like through your blood-brain barrier. So we've done 1 or 2 forwards and back. So let's take a move into the side, and here we really breathe out to the front. We're really getting a very nice mobilization of the ribs where they attach to the vertebra, and you might feel a couple of crunches as you do this. So our ribs are almost like bucket handles. So imagine as you're doing this that you're lifting up that bucket handle and then letting it go again. In very good exercise. And breathe out. Right. Let's do a side movement for the spine, because every organ of the body is attached to the spine and all your limbs are attached to the spine. So the spine is a very, very important part of our anatomy. open your legs a little bit, and we're going to do move the body like a river. Remember, song Shuming said, we want to move like a river, be like a mountain in stillness, but move like a river. So that flowing. Just initially feel as you take weight from one side to the other. We're not doing anything to the spine at the moment. We're just dropping into feeling the weight shifting from one side to the other. You may find that one leg prefers to take less weight than the other as you go across. Hands on your thighs. And now we're going to be thinking about the spine. So as we move over, first the hips go, and then the lower back, the middle back, and eventually your neck. And as you move to the other side, it's hips, lower back, thoracic spine, neck. Don't forget your neck. Often your neck is just going to move with the rest of the thoracic spine. And let it, once you're there, let your neck come right across. And this is very nice for that joint with the cervical spine or the neck vertebra join the thoracic vertebra. It's where people have a hump on their neck. They very rarely have any movement going through that. So it's very nice to get a little bit more movement going through there. You can breathe into one side, breathe out to the other. And we'll focus on the upper part of the back by pushing the river. So feel as you do this, you're actually moving a little bit more through the thoracic spine. Might have a few creaks there. Feel that you're pushing the river. There's quite a strong flow in the river. Maybe you're helping it to flow, or maybe you're going through it, against the current. Then you could actually feel that you're really working quite hard to get that side bend through. Again, breathing into one side, breathing out to the other side. And most of us get more stiff in the side bending of the spine than we do in the forward back movement or the rotational movement. Often so stiff. Got your little facet joints there, so you don't have the capacity to move quite as much as in the other directions. And down comes forward. Let's do a bit of chi massage. So we're going to come into the little intercostal muscles. Find your ribs on either side of the sternum or your breastbone. And just with your fingers, just feel how those little muscles are between the joints. If there's anything tender, you can just release it a little bit and then go down to the next level. Remember that your Taiji Qigong stance here is asking you to soften your ankles and your knees, drop your tailbone, and have your head lifted up. Shoulders dropped. Down you go. A little bit further. And then the ribs start coming out further out here because you've got floating ribs. They're not all attached to the sternum. And you might find you've got a little bit, because sometimes we knock this part of our ribs here. I can feel mine is a little bit numb on the one side. And because we hold quite a bit of emotional tension here, let's just do a little bit of knocking over these joints here. Here you can breathe deeply in and out, and we release any tension we've got with the out breath. So breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. In and breathing out. And now let's open one arm and just do some tapping just underneath your collarbone, where your pec major is attaching to. And then we'll go right down the arm, right down the inside of the arm. So we're following the meridians that either end or begin in your fingers, all the way back up to the back of the arm, all the way back along your trapezius here, and then down. We'll do 3 on each side. So when we're going down the front of the arm, we're going down the lung, the heart, and the small intestine. And when we're coming up, no, so lung. And when we're coming back large intestine, triple heater, and small intestines. Coming back. Down you go, lung, pericardium, and heart. Small intestine on the other side with the large intestine. Okay, just shake it out a little bit. Whew. Hitting a Kai apple tree over there, which got huge thorns on it. All right, the other side, open your arm there. Just along underneath your collarbone there. Some of the neck muscles are actually attaching onto your first and second ribs. So if you had a very tight neck, it can often be quite tight over here. And down the front of the arm, that's all the yin meridians. Turn over and come back along here. Now I'm just tapping with my fingers. But you could actually tap like this if you really were. But it was very, very, very cold. You'd maybe want to do this to get the blood flowing in your arms, get the chi flowing in your arms. You could use your hand, especially over your trapezius here, but it's very tight. You can do some nice knocking there. Shake it out. Should be feeling a little bit looser, a little bit more blood flow in your arms. And then let's go to the back. So you're knocking up your lumbar spine, you're knocking over the kidneys, your adrenal glands. Very good for the kidneys, very good to your lumbar spine. You can knock right down to your sacroiliac joints, up and down there. Also very nice to do in cold. And from there, let's go down the outside of the legs. We're going down the gallbladder meridians here and stomach around your feet. And we're coming up with the kidney and the liver. And this time we go down the back of the bottom. That's the urinary bladder meridian. All the way down you go. And up, liver, kidney, and to the quad. It's called the gates of the legs. It's where your femoral nerve and artery and vein are over here. So if you're sitting a lot, very often this area can get really kind of scarred down. We forget that when we're in one position for a long period of time, all the different layers of muscle and blood vessels and nerves, they actually get tethered together sometimes. And let's go up over the navel and just below the ribs, where the ribs join to the sternum over there, and then just below the navel, and then up and down over the liver. So if your liver's getting really, really hard and rigid, this is going to really help it move. And spleen and stomach down there. Right, and shake it out. So we've been working a lot with the meridians. We've been working with chi massage. We also want to think about the joints. So if we do repetitive spiraling movements through the joints, we call this oiling the joints. And as we repeat movements, we get this synovial fluid gets pumped out of the joint capsules, and that is what feeds and nourishes the joints. Other opposite direction. And then let's look at the elbows, one hand over the elbows, and let's do rotation of the elbows. We often forget about the elbows. We kind of forget about the elbows and the knees. We think sort of feet and hips and hands and shoulders, and elbows are just kind of, you know, a little joint, a little turning in the middle. Other one, like doing a knot when you go in the hole and out of the hole. And then hands together. And it's with the shoulders. So now it's nice to hold your hands together here, interlock your fingers, because then you notice how as you go behind, then the stretch goes to the opposite hip. So one of the principles of Qigong is that we move through the waist. When we move through the waist, we're much more powerful. Also our center of gravity, so we balance better. And let's go forwards. Feel your shoulders moving up and down your ribs, giving us a very nice diagonal crossover between the hips and the sacroiliac and the shoulders, working your pec muscles, working your external and internal obliques, your latissimus dorsi behind, going right through into your glute maximus on the other side. And relax. Okay. So we're going to do 1 or 2 flows. And I've chosen to do 2 from the animal frolics, the 5 animal frolics. 5 animal frolics, that was Dr. Ho Tao, and he was also around about the 3rd century. And he looked around at man and saw how stiff he was and stagnant he was, and said, I think we need to look at the animals and see how they move, because then we will become healthy, because the animals don't seem to age and they don't seem to get sick like humans do. So they chose a couple of animals, and we're going to do 2 of them. So the first one is the crane. So whenever we're doing bird exercises, it kind of lifts our spirits a little bit. So if somebody was like almost too earthed, then you'd want to do some of the crane or any of the bird or flying exercises, flying moves. And also somebody who's depressed, somebody who's grieving. Lovely to do bird things. Let's start soaring crane. So we're going to Taiji position here, hands facing upwards, and your hands go forwards and then fly out. And as you come forward, you allow your hands to turn to face the earth there and open up your wings. And then you come back, thumb and first finger together, open between the shoulder blades and come all the way back, sinking your breastbone back. And as you fly, come out, breathe in. And notice at the end of the opening, the recoil comes back. So you're moving almost effortlessly as you do this. Breathing, almost moving on the breath, breathing in. And imagine that you're a great big crane flying over the ocean, over the lakes, over the mountains. And you have more perspective when you're up here. You see a lot more than you can see when you're down on the earth. Breathing in. More lightness in your body, more levity. Breathe out. Breathe in. Feel the elastic recoil. Open your body up. Closing your body, coming in. So expanding. And recoiling. Coiling. Recoiling. Out you go. Breathing in. And breathing out. Let your wings come a little bit further down. Back. Down you come. And back. And back. And we'll go into another flying move. Feet a little bit closer together. Arms crossed. You breathe in, just come up to shoulder height. And down. Notice as you move your shoulders, elbows, and wrists. Come down, shoulders, elbows, and wrist. You're bending your, straighten your knees as you come up. You're bending your knees as you go down. Shoulders, elbows, wrists, and down. So this time we're going to go all the way up to the top of our head, so the back of our hands touch, and lift your heels off the ground and keep your balance there. And softly down. Flying all the way up now. Heels come off the ground, back of the hands touch. Come back. Try and do this breathing in and out of the mouth. And then try and do it breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. So when we breathe in and out through the nose, it's a much more refined form of breathing. And down. And relax. And from the crane, we're going to go straight to the bear. So the bear is very heavy and loopy and grounded, and we'll choose to do the bear. Maybe if we've got someone who's actually not grounded enough, or maybe if we're not grounded enough. And whereas the crane and the bird relates to the sky and to air, so the bear relates to the ground, but it relates to the stomach and the spleen organs. Organs that have a bit of a hard time if you over worry, over ruminate. At the moment, just think about the bear waking up and he's just scratching his back and a nice rough tree behind. Also nice to give you a nice spinal movement through the thoracic spine as well. Bear is very strong, powerful. So bear energy is good grounding energy. So let's go into the lung position and we're going to walk with the bear. And the bear focuses a lot on moving through the waist. Because as the waist moves and twists, so you improve your digestive organ function as well. So shifting backwards and forwards really slowly. Feel like a heavy bear, allow that dropped tailbone, dropped shoulders. And as we go forwards, one arm up and down. You can twist through the body. Face one direction, face the other. Same time as you're shifting. Allow your back heel to come off as you come forwards and back. Breathe in one way and breathe out the other way. And I think with the bear, let him breathe out through his mouth. We'll clear a little bit more stuff because the bear often worries too much. Let's get rid of some of that worry. Feel the turning through the waist. Change feet, opposite one in front. Same thing, we're going to change in the opposite direction each time. You might find it much easier to move in one direction than the other with different foot in front. Feel the weight of your body as you come up and go down. Heavy bear takes a lot of energy to lift his body off his feet. Relax. And now let's the bear go down to the water, and the bear's a great bear swimming in the ocean. Here we're going to be sitting back on our haunches, almost as if you're doing a sitting squat here. Go back and then your arms come forwards like you're doing breaststroke, and then pull yourself through the water. Down you go. This is an out breath. In breath, curl your tailbone in as you straighten up through the spine. Very good for your pelvis, for your leg strength, your thigh strength. And stronger thighs are related to longer life, okay? Just like heart variability, a deep breath and stronger thighs, those are the things that really do it for you, keep you going. Breathing in, pull back, tuck your tailbone in so that you undulate the spine as you come up. Tucking tailbone in and the rest of your spine comes up. Breathing out. Sink down, breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in. Open the space between your thumb and your first finger. Breathing in. Last one, breathing out. Back, bring your feet together. And we're going to pull down the heavens in the 6 directions. So coming up, open your hand and open your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists, your fingers. Feel into the space on either side of you. Turn your body so you feel the space in front of you and behind you. Feel the space between your shoulder blades and your spine. Open your shoulders, elbows, hands, fingers. Open your palms. Bring your arms up to the sky. Drop your tailbone, tuck your chin in, and feel your arms stretching through the caps of the shoulders, going up, 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 closer to touching the universe there. And just as we stretched up, let us float down on the substance of the air, feeling the substance of the air, as if your hands were going down through water. Breathe in, open through the shoulders, shoulder blades from the spine, the elbows, the wrists, thumb, open your palm, fingers, turning the opposite direction to the one you went before. Feel your spine long, drop tailbone, tucked in chin. Feel the space behind you and in front of you. Coming up to the sky as you turn back to the front. Nice to close your eyes in this exercise and really feel your body. Opening, shoulders going higher, higher, higher. Dropping your tailbone. Fingers reaching up to the stars there. Hands facing down and slowly floating down in the air. Floating down really slowly. Letting your hands come to rest just below your belly button. One hand over the other. Keeping your eyes closed and going straight into wind and bamboo. Noticing how your balance changes from side to side, front to back. Just allowing all that energy we've worked with in the body to settle. Being in the moment by noticing the sounds outside of you. And if you're not outside, all the sounds inside your body, your heartbeat, your breath. Soft knees. Be aware of the touch of your clothes on your skin. And allow your jaw to soften. Base of your skull to soften as where it joins onto the neck. The space between your eyebrows. Soften your eyes. And your mouth softens into a smile. Little smile. Slowly let your hands drop. And just notice how your body feels at the end of this Qigong session. I feel a little bit of tingling in your hands, a little bit of movement through your hands sometimes. Let your feet walk up and down. And thank you for joining me for Qigong.